So you better be good, or else this tiny little elf will either narc on you or kill you in your sleep. Hello everyone and welcome to For These Are My Thoughts. Today I want to talk to you about Elf on a Shelf. Now this video is not going to talk about how Elf on the Shelf is evil or voodoo or something weird like that, because while Elf on a Shelf very well could be evil, voodoo, magic, weird stuff, I mean, look at that face. That face has seen some freaked up stuff. Elf on a Shelf is relatively harmless. It's often used as a fun way to create Christmas memories and subjectively funny pictures and videos and celebrate Christmas with children. This video is simply going to be honest about what Elf on a Shelf really is. So let's start with Elf on a Shelf's primary responsibilities, which is to watch children's activities, deeds, and general lives and report back to Santa if they're being naughty or nice. Again, that seems relatively harmless until you actually think about what that means, like how Elf on a Shelf teaches children that they're always being watched, right? Now, let's be clear. Elf on a Shelf is not a tool used by the government to spy on children, but it does condition kids to think that it is totally okay to be watched at all times by a creepy little man. Which is definitely the creepiest part of Christmas and Santa Claus, is that he sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, he knows when you've been bad or good, so you better be good, or else this tiny little elf will either narc on you or kill you in your sleep. You've known him as Elf on a Shelf, but really, they're a creep named Philippe. Which brings us to the next truth of Elf on a Shelf, that it's basically a shepherd's staff for parents. Shepherd's staffs are used to certainly walk the terrain and do those things, but it's also used to keep the sheep in line when they misbehave. And Elf on a Shelf looks harmless, especially in cute little pictures, maybe even looks like a cool little toy for kids to play with. But as soon as the kids get out of line, it's used to lay the smack down on the little buggers. And let's not joke around. Elf on a Shelf is 100% used by parents to control and curtail bad behavior. It's like when I was a kid, and every time I gave my siblings and kids at school the stone cold stunner, my mom would reach for the phone and call up Santa Claus and tell him to bring me less gifts. Did it work? Most of the time, yes, I think it did work. Is that the best way to stop kids from misbehaving? I mean, it might be the most effective because no kid likes to lose presents, but it's kind of messed up when you think about it. But it leaves me with one large question for Elf on a Shelf and parents that have Elf on a Shelf in their house, which is, what do you do when Christmas is over? Like, how do you continue to threaten your kids and their bad behavior? You can't use Elf on a Shelf all the time because, I mean, that'd be weird. So Elf on a Shelf eventually goes back in the box. What do you do then when Elf on a Shelf goes back to the North Pole? What threat do you have as a parent then? Because again, Elf on a Shelf gives parents a temporary tool to curtail behavior, but it's really good for creating a kind of fake respect. It doesn't actually change anything. It's like when you run into your 5th grade teacher at the grocery store that you used to terrorize back in the day. But what do you think? Make sure that you comment your thoughts on Elf on a Shelf below. If you laughed, if you find yourself relaxed, give us a like, subscribe. Make sure you head over to the community tab to check out what we're posting over there. Remember, December 19th, we have a special animated Christmas story just for you. And until next time, these are my thoughts. And I'll see you soon. And the elf is always watching.